I welcome you. Let's take a few breaths to as a pause to self-connect. I want to share some inspiration from India in the form of a video, 2 minutes. And the video has children, two children, and an elderly lady. And there's music. So as you watch the video, connect with your thoughts, connect with your body sensations and feelings. And yeah, let's just be with how children inspire us, how children's hearts work, and how the child in each one of us can be enlivened. And what does that child tell us? So just being with India for 2 minutes. Yeah.
ફેરફાદુડી મારું ફળિયું જ રે ખટમાં દુરું મારું ફળિયું જ રે પગમાં ડૂત્યા મારું ફળિયું જ રે તડકો ને છાયો બની રમે મારી સાથે રે નીંદરમાં શમનાની લાવે સોગાર ચાંદા પોળી મારું ભળિયું જ રે
I'd like to see some smiles on our faces. And hi, Mark. Welcome. Were you able to see the video? Okay, great. Yeah, I'd like us to share what's come up in breakout rooms, in dyads. So just yeah, whatever you wish to share around how children's hearts work and how what as us in this moment, as me in this moment, what thoughts came up for me and what actually happened might be different. So just being with that, no judgments, and even if there are judgments, just kind of noticing. So I'll open breakout rooms, and I think I'll assign automatically so that it's fun to be surprised also sometimes. Like, oh, who am I going to be with today? So, in dyads for about 12 minutes, just sharing what the video brought up for you. Any questions? All good? So after 12 minutes, there'll be a minute to kind of close the conversation. Yeah, I'm going to open the rooms. Have fun. Love to, yeah. And then I'd love to hear anything that you'd like to share. Okay, so let's see the video again. Share the screen. This was Mark for you, a short video of 2 minutes to take you to India and share the inspiration from children's hearts, and an elderly woman is also there in the film. So just a moment, let me.
It stopped sharing.
Yeah. I'm just trying to start it again. It's stuck, so I'll restart it. Yeah, give me a moment. It's saved on my computer, and yet it's taking some time. So I'm feeling a little bit. Let me try again. The computer is tired.
You're in time, space.
ફેરફાદુડી મારું ફળિયું જીરે ખટમાં દુરુ મારું ફળિયું જીરે પગમાં ડૂત્યા મારું ફળિયું જીરે તડકો ને છાયો બની રમે મારી સાથે રે નીંદર માં સમનાની લાવે સો કાંદા પોળી મારું ફળ્યું જ રે ઘીમાં પોળી મારું ફળ્યું જ રે ખટમાં દૂરું મારું ફળ્યું જ રે ફેરફાદુડી મારું ફળ્યું જ રે ના 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 ના
Yeah. So, what's coming up? Would anyone like to share? Anything new that got stimulated for you? Colleen, are you saying something? Can you unmute yourself? Yeah. Thank you.
Like I was sharing with Mark in our dyad, I think there's a wondering for me about how everything is so new when you're a kid, and I don't remember that being stressful, everything being new. But as an adult, I find it stressful. So why is that? What is it that changes that makes me resistant to new things? You know, I'm curious about that.
Hmm. Any responses or any other thoughts, insights?
Well, I have a thought on why that might be.
Mhm.
I know in the English class I taught, none of my students, this was college, none of them really wanted to say anything. And I said, you know, I'm noticing nobody's really wanting to say anything, and I'm guessing it's, you know, I've learned over time that it's really uncomfortable and can be, you know, embarrassing or just, yeah, it's uncomfortable. We've learned not to enjoy being wrong, so we're afraid to make a mistake.
Mm.
That resonated with the students.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Alka,
Emotional.
for that. Yeah, for me, I was wondering what would that child who got his ball back do as a result of the impact of being received the way he was, because he seemed so scared to approach the lady when she said, "Come here," you know. And then I was thinking that lady must have done some self-empathy inside, you know, that, oh, it's life is hard, and, you know, these kids and all that. And then it's okay, fine, take your ball. And I love that gesture that go now, go and play, you know. There's so much of nonverbal communication and body language. And in India, I think I noticed that a lot because we are so close and we touch each other often. So yeah, a whole lot gets stimulated, but quite often it's warm, it's sweet. I want to acknowledge that. So I guess, is there more? Otherwise, I can kind of, you know, it'll keep
I have
flowing.
something. I have
Yes,
something.
Mark. Yes, Mark.
I think again back to the child with the ball that, you know, just had a cameo role. So he was expecting to be punished, but was not punished. So he's in that system of, you know, punishment and reward. And the fact that he walked away with the ball and no punishment is nice. And we see that, you know, reflected in the other kids' kind of observation of the whole thing from the bird's eye view. It kind of gave him a new view of how things might work. But the first kid sort of gets off easy. And I'm not sure if that first kid learned anything except that he got off easy. So what it brings up in me is I've heard Marshall say before that, we're still responsible for what we do, but that doesn't mean we need to be punished for what we do or rewarded. So I'm curious about, where do we make that? What does the responsibility piece look like? So we're not rewarding, we're not punishing, but by the same token, how does that first child learn something about responsibility as opposed to just running away with his ball?
Yeah.
I want to say something as well about that. And I remember one piece about that was take the responsibility, but not the blame. I think that was a piece that kind of stuck in me. And when I was young, I had a close friend, and I remember, I don't know if it was a ball, but I broke this beautiful umbrella case in the house, and I felt horrible. I mean, I was doing lots of jackling myself. And the mother looked at me and said, your feelings are more important than that inanimate object. And that was such a huge lesson for me. Just that somebody had that kind of care and regard. So that's what was triggered when I watched it.
And quite often, Sylvia, these sweet moments get kind of, hidden or covered by the other moments which, play up more, like fear or disappointment or blame. So for me, this is a sweet reminder to also nurture that seed, that sapling of times when, there was an acknowledgement of a mistake without blame, or that the umbrella broke and it's okay. I see you're feeling regret around that or fear around that, and it's okay. And Mark, when you ask that question, it is, even the question is so important as a question. And for me, what came up was responsibility is my ability to respond. And with the help of, NVC and my mindfulness practice, I can remember whenever that word pops up, the new definition, the new meaning of hearing it as, oh, I have an ability to respond. And what is it going to be? Yeah. How does that land, Mark? I see you nodding, so curious.
Yeah, it's a beginning. You have the ability to respond, and then, but can you go further with that? Can you give me an example?
Yeah. I think uh, in the NVC tree of communication, there are the three choices, and I kind of would, go into, say, the three choices are self-empathy, listening with empathy, and honest expression. And sometimes I might jump into honest expression as, yeah, I really feel frustrated knowing that the ball hit the glass. And I mean, but when I've not done self-empathy, there might be an edge of, blame that kind of slips in with my honest self-expression. So I might pause as a reminder of my ability to respond, and then compost those judgments inside. Life is hard. I have to buy new glasses. There's no business, whatever. I just kind of, compost those thoughts slow down.
Are you speaking as the shopkeeper or as the boy?
I am right now speaking as a shopkeeper, but also noticing that there is resonance of the same thing in all three. You know, I mean, the energy field that I create emanates outside. That's my belief, and I'm willing to trust that.
So the boy also, if he had the resources and the tools, has those three choices
Yeah.
in terms of taking responsibility.
Mm. In one of the sessions that I did in a corporate space, where I asked, what would that boy who got the ball back do? And they had such creative ideas of how he would bring business to the lady. He would, the next time he came to play with the friends, he would tell his friends that be careful, make sure the ball don't kick the ball on that side, or go and reassure that lady that I'm back with my friends, but we're going to play on the other side or something. You know, there's so much that's possible from that different space. And what I loved the most was, Mark, I saw your hand up. I'd like to make space for that, but that in the end, the boy who spent his 50 rupees to buy the glasses walked away without any need for acknowledgement or appreciation. The joy of like feeding the hungry ducks, as Marshall reminds us. Do whatever you do joyful, with joy of contribution. Mark, Dr. Mark.
Dr. Mark.
Yes.
You know, to me, the answer of where do you learn the responsibility, where does the first boy learn the responsibility, the answer to that is in the actions of the second boy. That why am I responsible? I'm responsible because I'm in touch with my need to contribute and be considerate with other people in the world. And, you know, Marshall talked about that's already a need that's within us. And that second child illustrated that need existed within him. And I'm reminded, because I had that experience, I helped out at a Giraffe Talk NBC event, which is an event for children that's put on by Susan Jennings, who's a certified trainer. And it was for children. They were all sitting in a circle, and Susan always brings a bunch of giraffes. So there were two children sitting next to each other, and one child grabbed the other child's giraffe and said, "I'm taking this." And there was a child on the other side of the circle, and he picked up his giraffe, and he had the biggest giraffe, and he walked around the circle to the other side, and he gave it to the child whose giraffe had been taken away. And it's just like, nobody told him that he should do that. He just knew that he wanted to, you know, compassionately give to another. It was such a sweet moment.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Mark.
So I'm going to say, my question wouldn't be where does the first boy learn responsibility? My question would be, where did he learn not to be in touch with his compassion? Or I'll say it this way. Where did he learn to be fearful, to go towards the woman? How did he unlearn, or how was fear introduced to him that he was resistant towards bringing the ball towards the woman?
Yeah. And in spite of fear, how did he walk to own his mistake without blaming? It wasn't me, it was that person. I know he went to get the ball, and then he could have manipulated and said, it wasn't me, it was that one and this one. And why do you have your shop here? And we will play no matter what. But instead, he went and faced his fear. Yeah. So I want to also, bring us to, as an intention, I guess we came to this space to be curious about what does my heart really want, and what do other people's hearts want, and then now paying attention to, with the intention, there is this attention to what's alive in my heart right now. What is it telling me? So I'd love for us to just, if you may, put your hand on your heart and just listen to it beating, just to connect with it. Let your breath and your heart connect. Almost don't want to stop. Yeah. So anything that you could say from that space, what is your heart telling you right now? How do you listen to your heart? Let's go there first. What is your way of listening to your heart? Could anybody share? How do you listen to your heart? What helps?
I take a breath or two.
Yes.
I just stop to listen and just see what emerges. And I'm trying to remind myself to also check in with my body. If it's telling me something, where and what is it telling me?
Yeah. I'm also reminded of Marshall's quote where he says, your presence is the most precious gift that you give to yourself and to others. And I added this yourself bit because it just came because, my heart is saying to me that I trust you. Are you willing to trust me? Because there is this struggle, this tussle between my mind and my heart. And my mind has a louder voice, a more assertive voice, that come on, how can you not trust me? I've brought you till here and this and that. And my heart, in a very gentle way right now, is saying, I trust you. Are you willing to trust me? Would you try? So the presence that Marshall talks about as a present, as a gift that we can bring to each other is what I want to invite us to kind of bring in this second practice of listening to each other. So yeah, again in dyads, different pair, maybe, or would anybody like to be in the same pair? Sylvia, Michaeline, you are stuck together. I didn't do it. It happened. So, yeah, in the diet. Huh?
Let's go
Yes.
for it.
Yeah. So I'm inviting us to the practice is that, we take a breath to arrive to bring that presence. Self-connection usually helps. And then we say, please tell me what your heart really wants.
I hear nothing, but I'm with you, but I hear nothing. So consider me just witnessing. If you hear me, I don't
hear
know
you
that you
too.
hear me or not.
Yes, it's a bit garbled, but we hear you. And
But I don't hear anything. So consider me just
yeah,
sitting beside you, witnessing. Don't bother yourself with writing. I will, this will be enough for me.
okay.
I will see it in recording later on. Don't,
Yes, thank you. Okay, so yeah, like when I was preparing for this, and I this message came that my heart is saying, so let's take some time, like maybe 25 minutes for this exercise in a breakout room. But I want to explain the exercise first. That uh, arriving to each other, to yourself, deciding who would like to ask the question about 8 to 10 times with a pause, with curiosity. Please tell me what your heart really wants. And then waiting, with that presence while the other person listens to their heart and shares what their heart really wants. And then receiving it with a thank you. Would you like a demo? Would that help? Would anybody like to do a demo with me? I'll ask twice, maybe. Who would like to try this? John.
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Yeah. Would you like to ask me, or would you like me to ask you?
I can go ahead and ask you.
Okay.
So I think we're taking a pause to arrive for ourselves and for each other.
And now I can say I'm ready, John.
Okay.
Could you? Yeah.
So what does your heart desire?
My heart desires for clean water for everyone.
Thank you. What does your heart desire?
It's my daughter's birthday today, my youngest daughter's 29th birthday, and my heart desires that, wishes that she celebrates herself today.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. How was it for you to receive this, to hold space for me?
I guess feelings of warm and tender, and I'm feeling my need for connection and friendship being met.
Thank you. For me too, your witness. Yeah, and?
I was going to say, and I appreciate you asking me because I was being hesitant, but I was grateful to be able to participate.
Thank you. So, yeah, and I can sense a tingling sensation in my body and a lot of energy flowing like a wash. So any questions? This is what we're going to try and do. Yeah. So Kirsten says that this line, please tell me what your heart really wants. And desire also is fine. But what Kirsten has, and it's just a framework, you play with it as it works. But the same question, pause, thank you. And then again, asking maybe 8 to 10 times. And even if there's silence, that's also experience. And then once both are done, we take down maybe just if you have a paper and pen, just take down something like a note to yourself from this space. Just taking down something for a minute or two silently, and then sharing how that experience was for you to share and for you to be heard as well and held as well. Okay, so maybe about 30 minutes in the breakout room, 10 minutes to listen, 10 minutes to again ask the question, 2-3 minutes to journal, and yeah, and share how the experience was. Is there anyone who would, yeah, Ahmed, yes. Ahmed, if you are sent into the breakout room.
I think you hear me, but there is something wrong with my computer audio, so I can't hear. I hear the noise, so it will be of no benefit to be with someone in a breakout room.
Okay, so
I could, if Ahmad likes, do a written one. We could go on a breakout and write, if you like, Ahmad.
Could you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay. So now I'll create the breakout rooms manually. So give me a moment. And yeah. Okay. We are a small group, so it's not going to be very difficult. Yeah. Just there now. Oh. Yeah. I think I'll make it 25 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I think. So 24 plus 1. And yeah, maybe 8 minutes to share and listen, 8 each. And then the rest of the time to journal and share how the experience is. Okay. I'm opening the rooms now. Yeah, Alka, would you like to share? And thank you so much um, for your suggestion to connect with through chat. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So how was it for you, Alka?
It felt very connecting and tender, moving, joyful. And I resonate with what Ahmed was saying, that much of many of our need, the things we wanted, were the same. And I love that he identified when we had the debrief what he saw as the common threads, and that it's kind of like our humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we found some common interests which were fun.
Lots to look forward to, I'm guessing.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else would like to share? Amy, I'm curious. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you. I was in with Silver, and she supported me and make me fully grounded. And at the beginning, I didn't expect it. It was so powerful for me that there have a person make a space for me just listening. And yeah, I feel safety and dig deeper, and yeah, really want to know what I really want. That's really helpful. And I also touched by when I listened to Silver, the compassion inside of her. I really moved at that moment. Yes, I just like the space, the intimacy space, and we just care each other and listen to each other. Yes, and and I really appreciate Sylvia's support me, and in the last couple of minutes about my son, I always talk about my son. Yes, I think I've been supported a lot of appreciation. Thank you.
Oh, Sylvia, how was that for you?
How was it for me to hear what Amy said, or how was it for me to do the exercise?
Either one.
Well, I appreciated that, and Amy reminded me that we had met doing a couple session with me and Michael in China. So that was really sweet to reconnect too with that. Yeah, I was really touched to see kind of just the slow, just the speed and the slowness of just kind of unfolding what was really in her heart and getting to that core truth for her. Just another way in to have that heart connection. And on my end, I would say, I think I came to the same place I've come to when I was probably 15 years old, kind of wishing the world would look differently, or how I'm imagining the world could be in a different way. So, so I found that interesting that I went back to that initial place where my heart was longing for some different changes in the world.
Yeah.
I just got to speak into your conversation. I'm so amazed to see the two of you, the pictures as Reena put you together. I just put a screenshot in the chat. Seeing the two of you, it's the same environment with your background. It just fits on my screen as you sit in the same room, the two of you.
Yeah. Hmm. Anyone else would like to share how the experience?
This is Becca, and we touched each other somehow, and we had just started a full conversation when we came back.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was very, I felt very connected, but we noted that she tended to have very specific heart desires and mine were more global. And so we were discussing that a little bit. And that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way the repeated question kind of forces you to dig deeper and deeper. The first 3 times, it's like, yeah, here are my pat answers that I know. But then it took more thought. And I thought that was helpful.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting, Becca, because for me, you know, when I did this the first time, I was playing with the question, what does your heart desire? What does your heart really want? And then at some point when I said, please tell me, what does your heart really want? That please tell me landed as if I was like in tears almost immediately. That someone wants to know. And they're like, please tell me, what does your heart really want? That I felt was really magical, and it stayed with me. And Ahmad, when you said, Ahmad, that magically you could hear and share, I was like, duh, obviously we shift from the head to the heart, and then we can hear each other. And we can also speak, you know, what's our truth, what's our life, and our truth is, you know, is what lives in us in that moment.
Or it is a reward or a gift because I stayed not listening.
Mm. Yeah. And as I see we have time, I'm kind of keen to spotlight each pair. Would that not work for somebody? I was keen to now have Mark and Shauna share whatever you wish to. Would that be okay, Shauna and Mark? Can I spotlight you? Yeah. Okay. Where are you, Mark? Here you are. So, yes.
Jonah, would you like to go first? Or would you like me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So funny, when Shona first asked what would my heart want, my heart wanted to just go away and be by myself. And I had considered before the exercise saying, hey, I'm not so sure I really want to participate in the exercise. And, you know, I made the choice to participate anyway. And so when Shona heard that my first response, she thought I was saying, I want to go away. And she said, okay, you want to go back to the other room? And it's like, no, I was answering the question. And I trusted that the need that would be alive, you know, might shift. And it did shift over time. I really enjoyed, you know, really getting in touch with different ways I want to experience.
Sorry.
I ended that, I think what I ended with is that I just want to love myself. I just want to be with the love for myself.
Yeah.
Johnny, you're muted.
That's because I have a guard dog. A guard puppy. I think one of the things that I noticed, oh, sorry about this. Zelda.
It's
Trying her
sweet.
little dog treats. Trying to get her to quiet.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things I noticed when I journaled is that it's really about connection and about nature, and that I am connected to nature. So everything I said I wanted had some sort of connection like that.
Mm. Yeah. And maybe experiencing yourself within that connection as well. I'm sensing it's really about then, some kind of interconnectedness or resonance. Yeah. Thank you. And your puppy is sounding quite excited. Yeah, wanting your attention maybe. So Dylan and Colleen, would you like to share? Yay. And then we have Paul and Michael.
Hey, so one of the things I noticed when Dylan and I were doing it was my responses about half the time tended to be phrased in the negative. So I spent my journaling time translating them to a positive statement. And I found that to be more helpful.
Mm. Mhm.
I was very playful with this, and the first thing my heart wanted was more water, and I had already drank water, but I was very dehydrated from being out in the heat, and I think I got a little bit overheated and I had a little headache. But once I gave like a big glass of water, thankfully I felt willing to come back and play. And one of the main things that my heart wanted was to acknowledge that when we speak of my heart, we're talking of the entirety of me, not one little piece of me. It wanted Colleen to really know that. And she's like, thank you, so. And then the other big thing for me that got clearer as I went on was that I wanted to bask in the in-between field within me. And then I really wanted to invite Colleen to bask in the pleasure of the field in between each of us that we had created, and she graciously accepted. And then when I got bigger, it's like I wanted to invite all living beings to bask in the pleasure of the in-between field that we create with each other. And that just felt so good to me. I was like, I want it. And then I told Colleen too, well, I try and do what my heart wants. Like I made it happen. And so there I was basking away. And so, yeah, that was what my heart really wanted. And it was easy to give it to my heart in my own mind anyway, in my own being anyway, to say, oh, that felt so good. Thank you. So I'm grateful to Colleen for being willing to play like that, participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have two more pairs, John and Mark. Would you like to share? Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, you can start and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first, Mark, or what's your pleasure?
Sure. So it was really intense 20 minutes. I've been on a good number of calls with John before summer camp, and that was great, because as soon as I saw that I was with John, I was like, okay, I don't have to hold back. you know, I just felt confident, and I wasn't sure just how confident I would be sharing with someone who I'm relatively new with. Maybe it would have worked, but it worked great with John. I didn't hesitate. So, yeah, it was like very powerful for me and made me cry a little bit to go that deep. But I almost like the listening part more than the talking part, because there was kind of this unfoldment, this peeling of the onion effect that was happening as John went, you know, deeper into his heart to answer the questions, and some kind of a magic about asking that same question over and over again that I don't understand, but it really worked. And by the end of it, it felt like we were just super connected. And yeah, kind of a very unique experience in my life. So I'm very grateful for it.
And I was grateful that Mark allowed me to ask the questions first, because I think that process softened me so that I had a possibility of going deeper when I was finding out my heart's desire. And during the journaling, I did some quick math and realized it's been 45 years since I've cried. And I did feel, you know, some tears welling up a little bit, but I'm also thinking I'm not going to force them. Tears will, you know, I'll cry all my tears in the fullness of time. But I realized it was a very powerful technique. And if you would have told me beforehand, well, here's a question you're going to ask 8 to 10 times over and over and over again, I would have said, well, I don't know if that's really going to work. So very impressed with the exercise and found a lot of value and a lot of connection in it.
Is there anyone else who had that same feeling about that question? And then when I'm so grateful for your openness, and yeah, even when Mark, you said you wish that you don't want to do the exercise, but your authenticity, and Mark, the Mark, yeah, recognizing the comfort and choosing to trust. And the universe works like this. Again, I went intuitively making pairs. It's the universe. It's really how it supports my intention to bring peace and interconnectedness through our hearts. I'm so touched. And yeah, I want to listen to Paul and Michael. As I spotlight you, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. Paul?
Oh, well, I feel like we played hooky a little bit, maybe. Yeah, we took the time, I would say. I don't know if I speak for both of us to like get to know each other better. And yeah, this was, yeah, so didn't really do the exercise exactly. We talked about like inner family systems a little bit, which is a little bit similar about having parts and such. But for me, it was really nice to have a chance to get to know Michael better. So yeah, I think that's, yeah, it was a nice opportunity for me. I guess that's all I have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm grateful for your choice, Reena. was very enriching to meet with Paul. And it started with beginning that my heart spoke and refused such structured exercises. So it's not my heart's way to express itself. So I told Paul this, and just from there, we went on expressing our hearts the way we do, and it was seemingly the right fit for us, I guess, because we stepped into a quite joyful, lively exchange. And I left the call just in the middle of a sentence while I was really inspired by some things I told Paul. I wasn't aware that it were 20 minutes or something, so it was amazing. And it was actually, I guess, exactly what my heart wanted to tell. So without any extra input from Paul, but what Paul offered me was what my heart needed. So it was a perfect match.
Mm-hmm. Again, the universe doing its trick. And
absolutely,
yeah, and acknowledging that both of you met your need for autonomy and choice. And
exactly.
yeah, thank you. I know we have about 11 minutes, and yeah, I want to share this image of a pomegranate. It's a fruit, and yeah, why am I sharing this? 1 minute, huh? Yeah, share the screen first. Yeah, so I was in Istanbul once, and we were sitting by the water with a NVC friend of mine, and speaking, I don't know, we were just sharing, and she mentioned that, you know, the pomegranate, the fruit inside is like small hearts. And I listened to what empathy is, Miki Kashtan sharing what empathy is for her. The experience of empathy is that there are little hearts pulsating, you know, in a similar way in a Petra dish. And I thought that my heart and our hearts are like pomegranates. There are little hearts inside our hearts that beat simultaneously. And as we connect, you know, our pomegranate heart grows. And I want to offer this metaphor, this image to you to just, you know, yeah, see how that works for you. Because in these COVID times in India, I have been overwhelmed constantly overwhelmed. There was no time, no choice to go numb, you know. And this image that my pomegranate heart can grow, having other hearts join in as I listened or shared, helped me. There was no limit, there's no limitation. And the rest also seemed like, okay, you know, just take some rest and then wake up again with that same openness to life as it unfolds. So, yeah, how does this land for you? And I'm just curious to listen to one or two people.
Well, I guess the pomegranate inspired me from very beginning. I painted an image with a pomegranate. And
oh, yeah, I see it. Please hold it again.
I put it on your video so you find it.
Yeah, and when we spotlight you, then we can see it. Yay. pomegranate heart. Yeah, thank you. One more person about the pomegranate heart. And it's fine if it doesn't work or you're hungry and you'd rather eat it and that's it.
Well, I find it funny that that it's a pomegranate because when the assessors met in Spain a number of years ago, Vivette, who lives in Turkey, she was there, and there was pomegranate trees where we stayed in Majorca, Spain, and she grabbed a pomegranate and said, "Do you want to know how to open this? I'd never learned how to properly open a pomegranate." So it's been always sort of a sweet thing to sort of remember the moment of learning how to first open that pomegranate heart.
Yeah. And I know your work with food, and I'm sure, now there can be an extension of how do you open a pomegranate heart or open to a pomegranate heart. Yeah, thank you. I want to bring back a memory of Marshall. I met him in 2006 by chance. I did not register for the IIT, but I was the host of the venue, the manager of the venue where the IIT happened in India. And Marshall came with 80 other people in 2006. And yeah, there's a sweet memory of that time. When on the second or third day, my friend Hema Pokarna, who brought him, told me that, come on, join into the sessions. And I said, no, in India, we have this Atithi Devo Bhava, like our guest is our God. And how can I'm responsible and I cannot go into the sessions. I have to be ready to meet all the needs. And she said, yeah, and my need is for you to dip into nonviolent communication and share it. And that was my start of my journey of NVC, with Hema insisting that I would be there and they would make sure that, everyone is looked after with the power of requests. So, yeah. And I saw the magic that Marshall is. And I say is. Ahmed, I remember your tears of each time you think of Marshall and how he lives in you, with you, and I'm sure with each one of us. So here is Marshall's quote, and I want to, because nonviolent communication is a language of the heart, and he says, get very clear about the kind of world we would like. Oh, get very clear about the kind of world we would like, and then start living that way. And yeah, I'm wondering if anyone from the elderberries would like to read it, the way Marshall, how it lives in you, these words of Marshall. I'd like to hear. Rita, would you like to read it?
Yes, I would. Nonviolent communication, language of the heart. Get very clear about the kind of world we would like, and then start living that way.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
And I was thinking, as a follow-up practice, to take a moment to make a request, each one of us making a request of ourselves to ourselves. What can I do to start living my heart's desire? So taking 2 minutes just to connect with a request emerging. Or a minute. You could type your request in if you like, so it can multiply or inspire others. So just a request to me, just as an example, and it is what came up now, is each time I notice overwhelm, I will take 2 deep breaths and make a discerning choice for self-care or a response to care for another. I know we are nearly we're at time up and it's late for many of you. So just hoping that you have your request and your needs met with our time together. And yeah, let's glance at each other, just a moment of acknowledging each other with our eyes and then saying goodbye silently or with voice when we are ready to leave. And I'll stay for a few moments till all of us are back home. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You.